So I know I haven't made a video in 2 weeks, and I know I just made a video talking about this like 6 months ago, but I needed something to talk about, and this fit the bill. I mean, heck, I didn't even think there'd be enough for me to talk about in the 3DS modding space, since it's only been 6 months, but luckily for me and you, I was wrong. So while I wait for my Powkitty RGB 10S to arrive, let's look at Nintendo's 11-year-old handheld and how modders and hackers have been able to keep it alive for much longer than people expected. So the 3DS launched back in February 2011 to pretty okay reviews. Many noted the uncomfortable viewing angles for the 3D function and the incomplete user experience at the time of launch. This, along with the price many thought wasn't worth it, caused the 3DS to sell under Nintendo's expected range. But they eventually fixed most of the issues through software updates, a drop in price not long after release, and better hardware, like the better viewing angles in the new 3DS line of systems. But seeing as the 3DS eShop is closing down next year and you won't be able to add funds to your account starting in a few months, hacking your 3DS is actually a great way to make backups of your games and their save files. This is effectively dumping your game's ROM, or CIA file, which is the native file on the 3DS, through hacking. And I probably should have prefaced this video by saying that this is not a hacking tutorial. Video tutorials for hacking your 3DS become outdated very quickly, and there are different guides based on which device you have, so to get the best guide possible, I'd suggest going to 3ds.hacks.guide. I mean, the first time I tried to hack my 2DS XL, I had to use magnets. Now all I have to do is download some files, flash my device, and it's hacked. It's simple. It's time consuming, but it can be done. But to dump games, you need to hold the start button as you start up the device, which launches God Mode 9. From there, you need to navigate to where your 3DS games are stored. If you're dumping from a cartridge, it'll just be in the game card section, while digital games could be on the SD card or the system. Holding down R and A will give you the option to search for titles on the folder you're currently hovering on. It'll search for titles and let you see all of them once it's completed. After that, you can sort through your games, and once you've found the one you want to back up, you press R+A again, and then press TMD file options, then build a CIA standard, creating a backup of the file.
Okay, so this isn't an issue of God Mode 9, this is actually just an issue of me not having space on my SD card. So that's also an issue. You need space on your SD card.
Once it's done, you can find the backup in the out folder and the GM9 folder on the root of your SD card. The methods may be slightly different depending on where your games are stored, but it won't be too difficult to figure out. Now, talking about game save files, I have two apps to show you, JKSM and Checkpoint. Checkpoint is the more popular one, and it's talked about more, and it's the one I've used the most in the past. But honestly, after reinstalling JKSM for this video, I actually might prefer it more. But before I get into that, let me show you how to back up your saves. Starting with Checkpoint, all you have to do is load it up, choose the game you want to back up the file for, press L, click yes, insert a name for the folder, click OK, give it a few seconds, and you're done. Simple, right? Restoring a file after using, say, a save editor is as easy as pressing R after hovering over the file name with the D-pad.
Okay, so I just found this while filming B-roll, and there's a cheat section here that I hadn't noticed before, and it basically just gives you a bunch of cheats here. So they have cheat codes for Chibi Roll but Ziplash, but not Animal Crossing. How is that even possible? Anyways, back to the video.
JKSM is seemingly more complex, but it gives you a lot more options. Checkpoint seemingly only scans for your game-specific titles, while JKSM lets you back up any save on your device. All you have to do is click on the type of title you want to dump, whether it be a system save or a normal save, click on the game you want to dump the save for, create a new folder, use an existing one, click A, and it'll save. It's as simple as that. They're both good. If you want a more simplistic design, I'd say go for Checkpoint, and if you want more control and dump other than save files for stuff other than games, go with JKSM, but they're both great at what they do. And also, I didn't realize this until filming right now, but it seems you can edit the amount of play coins you have through JKSM, which is actually pretty cool. And I don't really know why you'd want to do that, but I mean, you have the option. It's pretty cool if you ask me. And I think I just like JKSM more. because I like to control a lot of what I do. Moving on from that, I discovered this universal updater while scrolling through the 3DS Hacks subreddit, and I didn't think it would be all that like cool. I just thought it would be a way for me to update my firmware, but launching it was weird. Launching it basically brings you to what looks like a storefront, as it shows a bunch of DS and 3DS games all there for you to download, and me not expecting any of this to just install straight to my 3DS was super surprised when it did just that. It showed up just like it did if you download something from the eShop. It was sick. So I say I wasn't expecting it to show up on my home screen because I was expecting it to download to my 3DS and force me to install it through FBI, but it was really cool that it did. Also, the larger apps might take a while because you're on a 3DS using Wi-Fi, so it's not going to be that fast, but it also didn't slow me down that much. It was just a little slow for some of the apps. So after that, I downloaded all the apps I was interested in, and there was a few. Let's go through them and talk about if they were good or not. First up is this Animal Crossing Town Manager. Not entirely sure what it does, as it only gave me a few options, one of them being to just launch the actual game. So that one was a dud. Snake 2DS is, well, Snake, not sure what I expected there. Notify Me is just a notification manager with a pretty bare UI. I'm pretty sure it locked up my 3DS the first time I tried to even use it, like close it, so I'm not going to be using that again for like any legitimate reason. The Legend of Zelda Time to Triumph is a fan game, I'm pretty sure. Mod Moon is a mod manager for the 3DS with an actual nice UI. It even lets you launch the game right from the app. Really nice. 3D is a card game. Not that great, not gonna lie. Leaf Edit is yet another save file editor for New Leaf. You have to dump the save file first using one of the aforementioned save file dumpers, and in the app itself you have to click Editor. Yeah, press B until you can find the folder containing the file. Press A, it'll create a backup, and you can press OK again. You can choose to do a few things like edit the map. It's no PC save editor. This one on this website is pretty neat, but it does the job, considering it's right on a 3DS. You can place items if you want. I put down a money tree. You can also edit the acres, and I'm now only realizing how messed up I made this town the last time I... And while trying to like film stuff for this video, I realized that the town map I had, there was a circle with just like my house in the middle, and then everything was kind of like you couldn't go to the shops or whatever it was. And I only realized upon launching the game that that circle with my house on it had a bridge connecting it. So now that bridge is unusable unless I fix it again. And now that I have this app, it's actually pretty simple. I actually can. The town flag is also editable, which is pretty cool, but I don't care that much for that. Replacing the villagers is another feature. I replaced Rowan with Marshall, and you can change their personalities too. You can also change your appearance, like your hair color and facial appearance. And if the older Animal Crossing games didn't represent you well, you can change your tan value. That was a comment on how older Animal Crossing games would start you off as white, and the only way to make your skin darker would be to stand out in the sun and get a tan, just to make it like even look like you remotely. Luckily for me, I'm white though. Sorry to everyone that didn't. Now you have something that can help you. So the editor is really good for what it is on the 3DS, and I basically just destroyed my island. I destroyed my island before, but like now it's even more destroyed. This is what the map looks like. It's horrific. I've been given way too much power. That's pretty much it for this editor. It's actually pretty useful, and I got way more out of it than I actually expected to. Ports of Sonic 1 and 2 are pretty self-explanatory, but cool nonetheless. This battery checker is weird. I'm not entirely sure what it does, but it seems pretty cool. And if anyone knows what it does and could tell me, please leave a comment. I'm actually pretty curious. Wordle DS is just a Wordle in a DS file that installs straight to your home screen, which is kind of weird, but I mean, I'm not complaining. Now I just have one other Wordle app to beat my family in. There's a graphing calculator. Cool, but I don't think my math teacher is going to let me bring in a 3DS as a graphing calculator. Also, I don't know how to use a graphing calculator. Button Press 3D is dumb. I mean, it's an interesting use of the homebrew, like, modding scene, but it's dumb. Also, that name kind of scared me because Train Boy is a name that I used to use all the time for, like, different games I signed up for, so that freaked me out a little bit. Orchestrino is just an app to play around with an ocarina and other instruments from Zelda. Cool, just not that cool. Okay, I take it back. Actually, while writing the script, I did play around with it, and I actually had a lot of fun with it. So it is cool, I guess. It's fun. It's fun to play around with. Hori HD shows the difference between 400 and 800 px. Not that big of a difference, but it's interesting, I guess. Okay, so I'm filming the video right now, and this isn't in the script or anything, but I just downloaded this YouTube app, because I'm pretty sure the YouTube 3DS app stopped working, and this is like an actual YouTube app, and it actually works. Like, it has tabs for comments, it has tabs for suggestions, like suggested videos, subtitles. The video only goes up to 360p, but it's impressive nonetheless.
As a kid, we weren't allowed to touch it, and now having tried vinyl, I can totally see why. It's really fragile stuff, but once you scratch it,
it's cool. I mean, it's not going to replace my phone or my computer anytime soon, but I mean, it's usable, and like, it has a lot of stuff. Like, you can even see comments, which is very nice. So whoever made this, good job, you got big brain. And for the last one here, I have another Animal Crossing save editor. Wait, don't leave. I promise I'll make this quick. It's basically just the first one with a few differences. It's not that cool. The second one is the best. So wow, I got a lot of time out of that. How big is Wario Got? Oh, it's getting pretty pixelated. Moving on to emulation. Emulation is actually pretty big on the 3DS. I don't know if you knew. It's not like I've made like 75 videos on the topic. I know I've done videos on this before, but it's actually pretty cool on what's been done in the emulation community on the 3DS. Even stuff up to the N64 has been done. Not really well, but it's been done. You can even create forwarders of ROMs using PC software that make the ROM show up just straight on your 3DS home screen. I'm pretty sure I've done videos like this for DS files before, but you can do it with just any ROM type. The emulation scene on the 3DS has been bumping for a little while, but seems to be slowing down a little bit, as Daedalus, like the port of Daedalus X64 for the 3DS, hasn't been updated since 2020, and it doesn't seem like any other consoles are going to be like emulated on this system. Every console that you're like able to emulate on this system has already been done. Like, anything else is just not possible, which could be seen as a downside, but I honestly think it's a big upside. 11 years later, this thing can play a ton of games, and it's a great reason to just jump into the 3DS ecosystem if you haven't yet. I don't know why you haven't yet, but I mean, you can actually stream directly from your 3DS to your PC using Wi-Fi over SnickerStream or KitKat. I think I've done a video on SnickerStream before this, like in the past, that still brings in a lot of views for my channel for some reason. Let me actually go to my YouTube studio. It tells me like the last 3 videos and how, like, what last 3 videos have been doing well. Yeah, in the last 48 hours, it's given me 100 views. It's not going to be as good as a capture card, especially if your Wi-Fi isn't the best, but what are you going to do? 3DS capture cards are incredibly expensive. I tried finding one on eBay one time, and it was like just posted. It was at like $15 for a 3DS with a capture card. It was like 6 days left. I checked in 5 days later. It was at like $130. I was like, I'm not paying that for just like an old 3DS with a capture card in it. Like, if I really wanted to capture footage, I'd just stream it. I'm not that desperate for footage. Like, you can just like.
Have you ever had a dream
capture cards for 3DS are like available?
That
like,
you
where are you going
had,
to?
You
Something I didn't mention in my script, but I'm like incredibly stupid for not mentioning in my script, is CTGP7. I think I keep forgetting the name of this. The ROM for this is just available on the Universal Updater. So if you have a like Mario Kart 7 game card or download it on your 3DS, you can just download it through Universal Updater. And remember a few months ago, like when I did the last 3DS modding video, I talked about how I was getting an update in December with 4 new cups and new like mission modes or whatever. I haven't exactly tried out like the mission mode or whatever, but I have tried out the new cups and I love them. This game is like if Mario Kart 7 had the booster deluxe course pass, whatever it is for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because it literally like doubled, it like more than doubled the amount of tracks in the actual game, which is sick. It makes the game way more replayable, because Mario Kart 7 is not a very replayable game on its own. It's like you'd rather go back to Wii or just play 8. Because like everything new from 7 is in 8 and improved upon. So why I would go and play 7 is beyond me. But with this, it actually makes me like playing 7 a little bit. Like some of these tracks are so good. Like there's new characters, there's new carts you can download. I like it. Whether it be for backing up your device, the awesome ports I mentioned earlier, save file backups and editing, emulation, there's a bunch of reasons for you to mod your 3DS in the modern era. So if you're on the edge of doing it or like close to doing it, you're thinking about it, I'd say go for it. There's a lot of stuff to be done here, and it's actually a really great system that has been kept alive by modders for a long time because Nintendo fumbled the bag. And I mean, even when they tried to support it, they failed because they put the games that should have been on Switch on the 3DS. Who makes a remake of the original Luigi's Mansion and thinks, yeah, this will go on 3DS? But besides that, my RGB 10S shipped this morning. It says the expected delivery is April 17th, but those estimates are always off, so I don't know when it's arriving. Just stay subscribed for that video. None of the like ports of Windows or Linux or anything have been completed for the Iron Odin yet, so I'm still just using it as an Android machine, and there's really nothing left to talk about it unless you guys have like specific requests.
Okay, so that's actually a lie, because this morning I found a post on the Odin Handheld subreddit that talked about a Windows port for the Odin being completed, and I haven't done it yet. But that might be the topic of next week's video if my RGB 10S doesn't arrive. We'll just have to see. Okay, let's get back to the video.
Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week with maybe my 10S video. I'll see you a little later. Goodbye.